All right, so in this video, we are going to talk about how to make a mockup from one of your photos. It's actually super easy. All you have to do is open up your photo in Photoshop like this. So the layer will automatically be locked. So you're going to unlock the background and then you are going to select the draw a shape tool and just kind of approximately draw your shape over your mockup. It's not going to be perfect because a lot of your mockups might be angled at a certain angle. So after you draw it, before you create the angle, you're going to convert it to a smart object by right-clicking on the layer path. Next, you are going to go up to Edit and go down to Transform. And then you are going to select the Distort button. So this way you can distort your shape into whatever angle you want to fit your mockup. It helps if you decrease the opacity, and it really helps if your screen is on so you can actually see where the borders are. We're just kind of guessing here, but that's okay. You can do whatever you want. And so you just kind of distort the shape to make it fit to your individual screen, whatever screen size you're using. Now this is where if you don't make it a smart object before you start distorting, then the screen when you go in to put in your design is actually going to be distorted and your design is not going to fit. So you got to make sure that you draw the shape and create a smart object before you go in and actually go to transform and distort. Once it looks good to you, which this is about as good as we're going to get here, you're going to hit enter, the enter key, up the opacity back to 100%, and then you're going to go in and click on that little box in rectangle 1 and pop open your design. Now this is the window where you will drop in your actual design. I suggest making the background black for when you decrease the opacity on your design to make it look more realistic. Next, you are going to open, I recommend using Firefox because you can take a screenshot of the entire screen. If you're using one of your own custom web designs, you can go in and take a screenshot of the entire screen. And this is what I do for all of my projects. So you can save the full page, download it, and then you've got that down in your downloads. So then you're going to go back to your design, open up your downloads, and you are just going to drag and drop your design in there. You can also do this with design JPEGs directly from like Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop or wherever you're working from. So next, you drag to fit to the screen. If you hold down the Shift key when you click your mouse, it'll keep it locked in place. This also helps if you're filming a mock-up videos, which I'll show you how to do in another video. But you're going to hit enter, save, Command S. You're just going to save it. And then you're going to go back to your screen and you see it is fit perfectly in your screen. So what I like to do is decrease the opacity a little bit because this makes it look more realistic with your mock-up. So kind of eyeball it and do it to where it looks right. Now you can see we've got some lighting in this photograph. We have the light coming in from the right side. And so what you might want to do is draw a gradient over your design. So you go in, you hit the gradient tool, you draw your gradient, which that's just the shape tool. It's different than the shape tool. And what you'll want to do, you can't use the gradient tool over your individual layer. So you'll create a new layer and then use the gradient tool to kind of shape it. So what I like to do is do that. And then I go down and I go to the opacity settings. You see where it says normal. I change the settings to multiply. There we go. So I kind of flip it around to where I think it looks good. I hit enter. I think I'm trying to line it up here. I hit the enter button, I hit save, and then I look at my work. So you can kind of play around with the different blending modes here too, just whatever makes it look more realistic. You can drop the opacity down. You can do whatever you want to do. The goal is just to make it look as realistic as possible. So when you're done, you go back here and I can see that I've lined it up wrong because the light was coming in from the right side. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna flip it. Yeah, so you can see the shadow I've got on the wrong side. So I'm gonna go back into my design. I'm gonna flip it around. Yeah, there we go. That looks right. And you just kind of mess with it until it looks right. This process can take however long or however short you want. And then I'm gonna up the opacity here. We zoom back out. And you can save it as a JPEG when you're done, and that looks amazing. Now you have a mock-up, and every time you want to change the design, you can go in and click on the smart objects, and you can change out the design to whatever you want. It's so easy.